It was 1970. The heat of the sun burns over Mexico City. The sky is clear. The stadium is full. 107,000 people are on their feet. The Estadio Azteca is trembling. On the pitch, two footballing nations. Brazil versus Italy. The World Cup final. It's the 18th minute. Brazil's Gersinho sprints down the wing. He crosses into the box. A yellow blur rises into the air, floating, almost in slow motion. Powerful, calm, certain. He heads the ball straight into the net. The crowd explodes. That goal? It was Brazil's 100th goal in World Cup history. The man who scored it? Pelé. He runs back with his fists clenched, smiling, surrounded by teammates. He doesn't scream. He doesn't boast. He simply soaks in the moment. It was more than a goal. It was history being written. And when the final whistle blew, Brazil had won. 4-1. It was their third World Cup title. It was the moment Brazil became eternal in football. And at the center of it all, one man stood, holding the golden trophy. Eyes full of tears. Hands shaking. Heart full. Pelé. But let's take a moment right now, before we begin, to let this fact settle deep into your mind. 1958. 1962, 1970. 3 World Cups, 3 stars on the jersey, and one man who stood at the center of each. Yes, you heard that right. No player in the history of football, not Maradona, not Messi, not Cristiano Ronaldo, has ever lifted the FIFA World Cup trophy 3 times. Only one man ever has. Pelé. But that's just part of the story. He also scored an astonishing 1,279 goals in 1,363 games, a Guinness World Record. He played 92 matches for Brazil, scoring 77 international goals. He became the youngest player to ever score in a World Cup final, the only player to win 3 World Cups, and one of the first global sports icons to ever walk this earth. He wasn't just a footballer. He was the king of the beautiful game. Or, as Brazilians still call him, E.O. Rei. The king. But what makes his story truly unforgettable isn't just the numbers. It's not just the goals, or the trophies, or the screaming crowds. It's the way he started. The way he rose, the lessons he gave to the world. Because Pelé was born into poverty. He played barefoot in the dusty streets of a small town. He made footballs out of stuffed socks and grapefruits. He shined shoes to help feed his family. He didn't come from privilege. He came from passion, from discipline, from sacrifice, from love for the game, for his people, for the dream. So in this story, told in chapters, you're not just going to learn about the life of Pelé. You're going to learn English. You'll pick up real-life expressions, natural vocabulary, modern-day slang, and useful idioms that will help you sound fluent, feel confident, and speak from the heart. And more than that, this story will inspire you. Not just in your English studies, but in everything you do. Because the lessons from Pelé's life, they go beyond grammar, beyond the pitch, beyond language. They speak to every dreamer, every underdog, every learner who has ever been told you're not good enough. This story, Pelé's story, is for you. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Chapter number 1: Early life and background. Before the stadiums. Before the golden boots and flashing cameras. Before the nickname that would echo through generations. There was just a little boy, barefoot, smiling, hungry, and dreaming. His name, Edson Arantes do Nascimento. But the world would come to know him as Pelé, where it all began. He was born on October 23, 1940, in Três Corações, a small city in the Brazilian state of Minas Gerais. His parents were humble people. His mother, Celeste Arantes, was a homemaker, strong, wise, nurturing. His father, João Ramos do Nascimento, known by his nickname, Dondinho. He was a local footballer, a man with talent, a man with dreams of his own. But fate had other plans. An injury ended Dondinho's career too soon. Still, he never let go of the game. Instead, he passed that passion to his son. Dondinho didn't raise Pelé with money. He raised him with something more powerful: discipline, belief, and the ball. So, why Pelé? Let's stop here for a moment and answer one of the most asked questions in football history. Why do we call him Pelé? His real name, Edson, was inspired by Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. But when young Edson was a boy, he would often imitate a local goalkeeper named Bile. Except, as kids do, he mispronounced the name. He would shout Pelé instead of Bile while playing in the streets. His friends teased him for it, laughed at him, mocked him. The name stuck as a joke. At first, Edson hated it. He got angry. He even got into fights over it. But the more people used it, the more it followed him. And then, one day, it no longer felt like a joke. It felt like his name, the name of a king, Pelé. Vocabulary highlight. It stuck, an idiom, meaning something became permanent or accepted. Example, at first it was just a joke, but the name stuck. Life wasn't easy. Pelé's family moved to Bauru, in São Paulo state, when he was a child. There was no luxury, no comfort, no security. They were poor, and they knew it. Pelé helped however he could. He worked as a shoe shiner, polishing strangers' shoes for coins. He sold roasted peanuts on the streets. He watched his mother stretch every coin to feed their family. Still, the thing that made him happy was always the same: football. But they couldn't afford a real football. Not even close. So Pelé got creative. He made his own, using a sock stuffed with rags, tied up with string. Sometimes, even a grapefruit. And with that, he began to play. On dirt roads. In alleys. In empty lots and behind houses. Everywhere he went, he carried his makeshift ball. He didn't care what it was made of. All he needed was something to chase. Something to kick. Something to believe in. More than a game. He didn't just learn how to kick. He learned how to focus. How to move. How to imagine. He played against older kids. Tougher kids. He played without shoes. He played in the rain. He played when he was tired. And little by little, Pelé began to change. He wasn't just a boy chasing a ball anymore. He was becoming a student of the game. He copied what he saw on radio broadcasts and newspapers. He trained himself, pushed himself, and even as a child, people started noticing. That boy is special. Vocabulary and expressions in this chapter. Humble beginnings, starting life without wealth or status. Pelé came from humble beginnings, but never stopped dreaming. Make ends meet, to survive financially. His mother worked hard to make ends meet. Shoe shiner, someone who polishes shoes for money. Pelé worked as a shoe shiner to support his family. Makeshift, something temporary or improvised. He kicked a makeshift ball made from socks. The seed of a dream. These were the early chapters, before the stadium lights, before the 3 World Cups, before the crown. Pelé was just a boy, with no shoes, no money, but a vision he could feel deep in his chest. He didn't know how, he didn't know when, but he knew one thing for sure. He would play, and the world would watch. Chapter number 2, Rising Career and Early Challenges. The road from the dusty back streets of Bauru to the biggest stadiums on earth didn't happen by magic. It happened with discipline. It happened with persistence. And it happened with a break, the kind of opportunity that knocks only once. Pelé got that chance at age 15. It began with a local team, Bauru Athletic Club, coached by a man named Waldemar de Brito, a former national player. De Brito saw something in Pelé, something rare. Speed, control, vision, hunger. He told Pelé's family, "This boy will be the greatest player in the world." That wasn't just encouragement. That was a prediction. A new stage, Santos FC. De Brito took Pelé to a trial with Santos Futebol Clube, a professional team located in São Paulo state. Imagine that moment. A skinny 15-year-old. No formal training. No fancy boots. Just raw talent and a dream. He played one training session and stunned everyone. Coaches at Santos watched in disbelief. His control, his speed, his awareness. It was like he had been born with the ball at his feet. They signed him immediately. In 1956, Pelé officially became a Santos player, making a statement. The following year, 1957, Pelé made his debut for Santos senior team, at only 16 years old. He scored in his very first game. He didn't celebrate loudly. He just smiled and kept playing. By the end of that season, he was the top scorer in the league. Fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. This wasn't a young talent. This was a phenomenon. From local wonder to national call-up. At just 16, Pelé was called up to Brazil's national team. He had barely finished high school, and now he was training alongside professional men. Legends, grown warriors of the game. But Pelé didn't shrink. He rose. He scored his first goal for Brazil against Argentina in 1957, and instantly became the youngest scorer in the history of the national team. He was still a boy, but the world was already watching. The 1958 World Cup, Sweden. And then came Sweden. Pelé was 17 years old when Brazil selected him for the 1958 FIFA World Cup. There was controversy, doubt, debate. Was he too young? Too raw? Could he handle the pressure? Pelé missed the first 2 games due to injury. But when he stepped onto the pitch in the quarterfinals, everything changed. He scored the only goal against Wales, sending Brazil into the semifinals. In the semifinal against France, he scored 3 goals, a hat trick. Then, the final. Against the host nation, Sweden. Pelé didn't just play well. He created magic. He scored 2 goals in the final, including one where he flicked the ball over a defender, spun, and volleyed it into the net. A move that's still replayed in football highlight reels today. Brazil won 5-2. They lifted their first ever World Cup. And the boy from Bauru, at just 17, became the youngest player to win a World Cup final. The aftermath, a legend begins. Back in Brazil, the streets erupted with joy. Pelé had gone from a nobody to a national hero in just months. He was now not just a player. He was a symbol of hope, of victory, of what was possible. Vocabulary and expressions in this chapter. Make a debut. To appear for the first time in public. Pelé made his debut for Santos at just 15. Trial, a test of ability in sports. He was invited to a trial at Santos FC. Call up, a selection to join a team, often a national team. At 16, he got his first Brazil call-up. Rise to the occasion, to perform well under pressure. In the World Cup, Pelé rose to the occasion. Hat trick, scoring 3 goals in a single match. Pelé scored a hat trick against France. Flick the ball, to lightly tap or lift the ball using quick motion. He flicked the ball over the defender and volleyed it into the net. A boy among giants. Imagine that. Just 17, scoring on the world's biggest stage. No player so young had ever done it before. He wasn't just part of the team. He was the reason they won. And the best part? He was just getting started. Chapter number 3, Peak Success and Career Breakthrough. He came into the World Cup a boy. He left a hero. After 1958, everything changed for Pelé. No longer just a rising star. He became a national treasure. But it wasn't just Brazil that loved him. The entire world had seen his magic. Live, raw, real. Newspapers across continents ran his photo. Fans in Europe, Asia, and Africa knew his name. He had turned football into theater, and himself into its leading man. A star in his prime. Back in Brazil, Pelé returned to Santos FC. Now 18, still a teenager, he continued to dazzle the world. In the next few years, he led Santos to countless victories. They won the Campeonato Paulista, Copa Libertadores, and the Intercontinental Cup. Pelé was unstoppable. He would glide past defenders, change direction mid-stride, curve shots from impossible angles. He could shoot with both feet. Head the ball like a striker twice his size. He could read a play before it happened, like a chess master on grass. Opponents called him a nightmare. Teammates called him a gift. The fans? They just called him Ray, the king. 1962, another World Cup, another test. In 1962, Brazil looked to defend their World Cup title in Chile. Pelé was stronger, smarter, more experienced. He scored a brilliant goal in the opening match. But then, an injury. He pulled a muscle and was ruled out for the rest of the tournament. For most teams, losing their best player would mean collapse. But not Brazil. Another legend, Garrincha, stepped up, and Brazil won their second consecutive World Cup. Pelé didn't play the full tournament, but he was there, supporting, guiding, celebrating. Even injured, he mattered. 1966, the fall. The 1966 World Cup in England brought something Pelé wasn't used to. Defeat. Brazil, now 2-time champions, were the favorites. But things went badly. Pelé was targeted in matches. Brutal fouls. No protection. He was kicked, pushed, fouled, again and again. He missed the second game due to injury. Returned for the third. But Brazil lost. They were eliminated in the group stage. Pelé left the pitch limping, disappointed, silent. After the match, he said, "I don't want to play in another World Cup." The pain, physical and emotional, was too much. 1970, the masterpiece. But time changes things. By 1970, Pelé was 29 years old, older, wiser, more complete. And Brazil needed him. He agreed to return for one last World Cup. What happened in Mexico wasn't just football. It was art. The 1970 Brazil team is often called the greatest team of all time. It featured Carlos Alberto, the calm captain and powerhouse fullback. Castillo, clever, selfless forward. Jairzinho, the winger who scored in every match. Rivellino, master of the curved shot. And of course, Pelé at the center of it all. Together, they didn't just win matches, they created beauty. The final, Brazil versus Italy. The match began tense. Then, the 18th minute, a cross floated in. Pelé leapt high. Time slowed. Goal. His header slammed into the net. Brazil 1. Italy 0. Later, he would assist Carlos Alberto's thunderous goal, the final strike in a move that included 9 players and 7 perfect passes. Brazil won 4-1. Pelé fell to his knees. It wasn't just a victory. It was a crowning moment. He became the only player in history to win 3 World Cups. No one has matched it since. Not Maradona. Not Messi. Not Ronaldo. Only Pelé. Beyond numbers. He wasn't just winning games. He was changing countries. In 1969, Pelé's team toured Nigeria, which was in the middle of a civil war. But when Santos played in Lagos, both sides agreed to a 48-hour ceasefire. Just to watch Pelé. A war stopped. For football. He wasn't just a player. He was a unifier. A peacemaker. A symbol of joy. The global icon. By the early 1970s, Pelé had scored his 1,000th career goal, known in Brazil as O Milésimo. The game stopped. The fans wept. He dedicated the goal to the children of Brazil, especially the poor and forgotten. Even after retiring from international play, Pelé continued to shine. In 1975, he signed with the New York Cosmos in the United States. There, he played alongside Franz Beckenbauer and others, bringing football to a new audience. The stadiums were packed. Celebrities attended games. He turned American soccer into a spectacle. Vocabulary and English expressions. Crowning moment, the most glorious or defining moment in someone's life. Winning 3 World Cups was Pelé's crowning moment. Step up, to take responsibility in a difficult moment. Garrincha stepped up when Pelé got injured. Brutal fouls, very rough or violent tackles. In 1966, Pelé suffered brutal fouls. On another level, far superior. The 1970 Brazil team was on another level. Make history, to do something that will be remembered forever. Pelé made history with his 3rd World Cup win. Chapter Reflection. This wasn't just a career. It was a story of redemption, of returning after failure, of rising again. Pelé showed us that champions aren't born in good times. They're born in the tough ones. He didn't just become the best. He became untouchable. Chapter number 4. 5 most known facts. Every legend has numbers behind their name. Records, stats, firsts, milestones. But in Pelé's case, the facts aren't just numbers. They are proof of something much deeper. Greatness. Let's explore 5 of the most known and most powerful facts about Pelé. Each one is more than a detail. It's a story in itself. 1. The only player to win 3 FIFA World Cups. Say it out loud. 1958, 1962, 1970. No player in history. Not Maradona. Not Messi. Not Ronaldo. Not Zidane. Not Mbappe. No one has ever won 3 World Cups. Only Pelé. He didn't just play in them, he led them. At 17, he lit up Sweden in 1958. At 21, he lifted Brazil again in 1962. And in 1970, at the age of 29, he came back to claim his final crown. Vocabulary. Set a record to achieve something that no one else has done. Pelé set a record that no one has matched since. 2. 1,279 career goals, a Guinness World Record. Imagine scoring 10 goals in a season. That's good. Now 50 goals? Impressive. 100? Legendary. Now imagine scoring 1,279. That's what Pelé did. Across 1,363 matches, including club games, friendlies, national team appearances, and exhibition matches, Pelé scored more than any professional player ever. Yes, the record includes unofficial matches too, but Guinness still recognizes it. Because goals are goals. He scored with his left foot, right foot, his head. In Brazil, in Europe, in Africa, in North America. If there was a goal to be scored, Pelé found it. Expression. Let that sink in. Pause to truly understand something. 1,279 goals. Let that sink in. 3. He paused a war. Literally. In 1969, Santos FC, Pelé's club, toured Africa. At the time, Nigeria was in the middle of a civil war. Two sides. Violence. Division. But when Santos arrived in Lagos, both sides agreed to a 48-hour ceasefire. Why? Because everyone wanted to see Pelé play. The match took place. The stadium was full. And for 2 days, the guns went quiet. No bullets. Just football. A war stopped because of one man's presence on a football pitch. Expression. Game changer. Someone who completely changes a situation. Pelé wasn't just a player. He was a game changer, literally. 4. He was declared a national treasure. In the 1960s, European clubs came calling. Real Madrid, Juventus, Manchester United, Inter Milan. They offered big money, big deals, big dreams. But Brazil said, no. The government officially declared Pelé a national treasure, making it illegal for him to be transferred overseas. He wasn't just a footballer. He was part of the nation's soul. Expression. Not for sale. Something too valuable to give away. Pelé was not for sale. He was Brazil's beating heart. 5. He popularized football in the United States. In 1975, Pelé joined the New York Cosmos. At the time, football in the U.S. wasn't popular. Stadiums were empty. Few people even knew the rules. But when Pelé arrived, everything changed. He brought a magic the country had never seen. Suddenly, games were full. TV channels began broadcasting matches. Celebrities came to watch. He played alongside international stars like Franz Beckenbauer and Giorgio Chinaglia. Pelé didn't just play, he inspired a movement. Today, Major League Soccer, MLS, owes part of its existence to what Pelé began. Expression. Light up the stage. To perform in an exciting or powerful way. Even at the end of his career, Pelé lit up the stage in America. Recap. The 5 legendary facts. 3 World Cup titles, unmatched. 1,279 career goals, Guinness World Record. Ceasefire in Nigeria. Football stopped a war. Named a national treasure, protected by law. Changed U.S. Football forever. Made soccer mainstream. Vocabulary practice time. Try using these phrases in your own words. Set a record. Let that sink in. Game changer. Not for sale. Light up the stage. Example. Pelé set a record that still stands today. He was a game changer. Watching him light up the stage made people believe in magic. Chapter reflection. These facts aren't just impressive. They're legendary. Because each one says something greater. Pelé didn't just play. He changed the way the world sees football. And the way football sees the world. Chapter number 5. Personal values. Giving back and impact beyond fame. After all the goals, after all the trophies, after the screaming crowds faded and the lights went out, what remained? Who was Pelé when the stadium was empty? What was left when the cameras stopped rolling? The answer? A man with values. A man who never forgot where he came from. A simple beginning. A lifelong reminder. Pelé came from humble beginnings, a small home Little money, no privilege. But he never turned his back on that life. He once said, "I was born to play football, just like Beethoven was born to write music." But he also said, "When people succeed, it is because of hard work. Luck has nothing to do with success." His success wasn't an accident. It was a result of values learned as a child. Hard work, respect, family, gratitude. He held on to those values all his life. Humility and greatness. You'd expect someone who won 3 World Cups and scored over 1,000 goals to be larger than life. But Pelé was never arrogant, never cold, never ungrateful. He was humble. He treated fans with kindness, signed autographs for hours, took photos with children, listened to the people who admired him, even when he didn't have to. His teammates described him as down to earth, a phrase we use in English to describe someone who is humble and real. Expression spotlight. Down to earth, someone humble and realistic despite their success. Even after becoming the best in the world, Pelé stayed down to earth. Giving back, with purpose. Pelé didn't believe success was something you keep. He believed in sharing it. In 1994, he was appointed a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador, working to promote peace, education, and equality around the world. He also became a UNICEF ambassador, helping children in poor communities. But perhaps his most meaningful effort was through the Pelé Foundation, a global nonprofit organization supporting children and communities through sports and education. He didn't just lend his name, he lent his time, his presence, his energy. He gave back, not for fame, not for image, but because he truly cared. Vocabulary boost. Give back, to help others after gaining success. After retiring, Pelé gave back to poor communities and children. Lend his name, to publicly support a cause. He lent his name to causes he believed in. A voice for peace and dignity. Pelé spoke out about injustice, not with anger, but with dignity. He avoided politics, but always supported what was right. When interviewed about racism in football, he didn't scream. He educated. He told young players, "You are not less. You are part of the game. You are part of the beauty." He used his platform, not to separate, but to unite. He built bridges across races, languages, and borders. Expressions to know. Stand for something. To support a cause or belief publicly. Pelé stood for peace, equality, and education. Build bridges. To create understanding between different people. He built bridges between nations through football. A mentor to legends. Even after retirement, Pelé stayed close to the game. He mentored young stars, including Ronaldinho, Neymar, and Ronaldo Nazario. He encouraged them to work hard, stay humble, and honor the game. They didn't see him as a statue. They saw him as a teacher. And Pelé gave them something no coach ever could. Wisdom. A life well lived. Pelé passed away in 2022. But he didn't leave behind emptiness. He left behind a legacy of kindness, of service, of unity. He proved that you can be a king and still be human. Final thoughts. In the end, the world didn't remember Pelé just because he scored goals. They remembered him because he made life better for others, because he gave back, because he stood for something greater than himself. And in that, he became more than a legend. He became an example. Chapter number 6. Learn English from their journey. You've followed Pelé from barefoot boy to global icon. You've seen his struggles, his rise, his heart. Now it's time to turn his story into language, practical, powerful English you can use every day. Let's explore 10 useful phrases and idioms from his journey, broken down with real examples and meanings. Number 1. Make ends meet. Meaning, to survive financially with just enough money. Story example. Pelé's family worked hard to make ends meet. Your example. I'm doing 2 part-time jobs just to make ends meet this month. Number 2. Humble beginnings. Meaning, starting life without money or social status. Story example. He came from humble beginnings, but his dream was big. Your example. Many entrepreneurs come from humble beginnings. Number 3. Down to earth. Meaning, humble, real, not arrogant. Story example. Even with all the fame, Pelé stayed down to earth. Your example. She's a billionaire but still down to earth. Number 4. Stand for something. Meaning, to believe in and publicly support an idea or value. Story example. Pelé stood for peace and education. Your example. I want to stand for honesty and equality in my life. Number 5. Build bridges. Meaning, to connect people and create understanding. Story example. He built bridges between races, nations, and cultures. Your example. Learning languages helps build bridges between communities. Number 6. Game changer. Meaning, a person or thing that changes everything. Story example. Pelé was a game changer in football history. Your example. Smartphones were a game changer for communication. Number 7. Let that sink in. Meaning, pause and think deeply about what was just said. Story example. 1,279 goals. Let that sink in. Your example. I'm going to college abroad next year. Let that sink in. Number 8. Give back. Meaning, to contribute or help others after becoming successful. Story example. Pelé gave back through charity and education. Your example. After I graduate, I want to give back to my village. Number 9. Flick the ball. Meaning, a football action, lifting the ball slightly with your foot. Story example. He flicked the ball over the defender and scored. Your example, football. He flicked the ball with style during the match. Number 10. Crowning moment. Meaning, the highest or most celebrated moment in someone's life. Story example. Winning his 3rd World Cup was Pelé's crowning moment. Your example. My graduation day was the crowning moment of my education. Learning tip. Don't just read these. Use them. Pick 3 and write your own short story. Tell someone about Pelé using these expressions. The more you use them, the more they become part of you. Quick practice. Which phrase would you use to describe this sentence? She built a school in the poor village after becoming famous. Answer. Give back. What about? He performed better than everyone and changed the outcome of the game. Answer. Game changer. Final word. Learning English isn't just about memorizing words. It's about connecting to stories, feeling the meaning, using phrases that carry emotion, truth, and purpose. Pelé's journey is full of that. And now, so is yours. Chapter number 7, Quiz and Reflection. So now, take a breath. You've learned the story. You've explored the language. You've seen the rise, the glory, the legacy. Now it's your turn. Let's see how much you remember and what you took from the journey. Grab a pen, or just answer out loud. Here's your quiz plus reflection round. Part 1. Quick quiz. Test what you remember. 1. What is Pelé's full birth name? 2. At what age did he win his first World Cup? 3. What did he use to play football as a child? 4. How many career goals did he score? 5. What world record does he hold? 6. What nickname did Brazilians give him? 7. Which football club did he join in the United States? 8. What does stand for something mean? 9. What is a game changer? 10. Why was he declared a national treasure in Brazil? Part 2. Personal reflection. And what about you? Now ask yourself, what part of Pelé's story inspired me the most? Which English phrase or idiom do I want to start using today? What challenge in my life can I approach with the same spirit? Am I just learning English, or am I building something bigger with it? Take a moment, write it down, let it sit in your heart, let it move something inside you, because learning is more than memory, it's meaning, and stories like Pelé's remind us that our own stories matter too. Final challenge. If Pelé could go from shining shoes in Brazil to becoming a global legend, what's stopping you? Take this story, his story, and turn it into action. Write your next paragraph. Record your next sentence. Apply for that job. Speak in that class. Start that project. Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to hear your voice. Let Pelé be your reminder. You don't have to be born ready. You just have to show up. And never stop showing up.